Hey, good morning, FCF. We're getting ready to start a new 8-day journey. And the subject is one that we as humans, we don't really like. It's about waiting, but it's waiting slash that sometimes in the waiting, God is bringing what I'm going to call delayed blessings to us. He intends to bless us with something, but sometimes we wait and we even become unsure about when or even if, to be honest, the particular blessing is going to come. So we'll start back in the book of Genesis, and we're going to look at Abraham. Abraham is 75 years old. He's living in Ur of the Chaldees, a very sophisticated city of the day, wealthy man, and he's 75 years old. The Lord comes to him and makes him a promise and requires him to be willing to leave it all behind, leave his old life behind, his home and everything, and journey to some land that God is going to lead him to, a land that he's never seen, that he doesn't know anything about. And I'm going to read just a little bit of the promise, the way it came across. So this is Genesis 12, and it starts in verse 1. The Lord had said to Abram, "Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation." Remember that. You can't be a great nation unless you have children. "I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you I will curse. And all the peoples on earth will be blessed through you." So it's a tremendous promise, and Abraham is 75 years old when this comes to him. Now let me fast forward you a little bit. Genesis 15. In Genesis 15, listen to this exchange between Abraham and the Lord. It says, after this, Genesis 15:1, after this the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. "Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield and your very great reward." But Abram said, "O sovereign Lord, what can you give me since I remain childless, and the one who will inherit my estate is Eliezer of Damascus?" So here's the picture. God calls Abraham in Genesis 12. It is now 10 years later. And again, to be the father of a nation, you have to have kids. Abraham was 75 when he started the journey with God. He's now 85 years old, and there's still no kids. Apparently, he and Sarah, their entire time together, were not able to have children, and there's still no child. So Abraham's getting a little antsy. If you read the rest of the passage, in fact, I will read you this one because it's such an important one. In verse 6, verse 5, God takes him out and says, "Abraham, look up at the stars." And he says, "Abraham, if you can count the stars, that's how many descendants you're going to have." And then in Genesis 15:6, it says, "Abraham believed or trusted in the Lord, and it was credited to him as righteousness." That's carried over into the New Testament. It's a model of the kind of trust, the kind of relationship God waits for us to enter into with him. So, when is this nation going to get started? Well, you go into Genesis 17, and here's how it starts out. When Abraham was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to him. If you read on in the passage, God appears to him and Sarah, and he says, "Okay, now it's going to happen." So it's 25 years later. They've been waiting for this promised child for 25 years. In fact, it's been waiting so long that both he and Sarah are now physically, it comes out in the passage, they're past the point of being able to have children. When Sarah hears this, you read in Genesis 18, she actually laughs. And then when the Lord calls her down and says, "You're laughing, Sarah," she lies. And the Lord calls her back and says, "No, you did say it. I heard you." So it's kind of a funny scene, but the promise is finally fulfilled. Supernaturally, they are enabled to have a child, and they bring forth a child named Isaac. Abraham's 100 years old. Sarah's, well into her 90s, and they have the promised child. So the point is this. God made the promise 25 years earlier. Now I wonder if maybe any of you that are watching this had either asked God for something that you were certain was within the parameters of His Word and His will, and you asked, but it did not come. And you maybe continued to ask, and then as time went on, maybe you just thought, "Oh, well, perhaps God just doesn't want to give this to me," and you've maybe forgotten about it altogether. Or maybe you're in a situation where you've asked and you continue to ask and years have gone by. I myself know what it is to ask the Lord for something for 10 years before it was finally given to me. So I wonder if you've had that experience, but then the blessing comes. It's delayed, but it's still an extraordinary blessing when it comes. And when it finally comes, you really don't care at all about the time that you had waited before. The time may have dragged on when you were uncertain of the blessing, but once the blessing came, it was as though no time had passed. This is a pattern you find throughout Scripture. The Lord seems to feel that He can stretch our souls a little bit better when we're waiting on Him, and particularly when we go through the cycle that I call the death of a vision. In other words, we believe that God gives us or wants to give us something. We feel like it fits within the parameters of His Word and will, and then it delays so long we give up on it. We just consider, well, it's never going to be. God seems to delight in surprising us and bringing it to pass at just such a time, as in the case of Abraham and Sarah. When they were way past the ability to have a child, God brings it to pass. So I hope this journey about waiting on God and delayed blessing will perhaps give new meaning to some of the experiences you've had in life. Thank you for being with me today.